Uh,
Yeah, no, I like messaged Gabriel this morning and I'm like, I know you're super busy. If you get the chance, sending an email out could bring a lot of people here. So he was like, I got you. I
oh
got
yeah, I did get it. I did get it.
you. Okay, okay. Um, something fun that I think is cool, and then we'll kind of begin just with everyone here. If you want to rename yourself to just adding in your location, I think that's really cool to see where everyone's at.
Of course, you don't have to do anything. No, not at all.
Many new friends, many new friends. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. Oh, strange. We've got some catching up to do here. Okay, well,
Progress.
I think folks are gonna continue to call in, but I think it feels good to get started. Yeah, I think it feels good. I just want to say welcome, first of all. It's been about a month since we've hosted one of these calls. I'm gonna mute just because there's some feedback. Um, yeah, no, it's been about a month since we've hosted. Hold on, let me mute. There we go. And yeah, we've all just been so busy. The wintertime was really this time where we were building an incredible rate community in the Cedars community. And then we had a lot of events that brought a lot of new people in. So to be honest, 90% of the people here are completely new faces for me. And I would really love to get to know you all. This call, well, first let me start. I'm Wyatt. I've been working with the foundation for about a year now. And this call has evolved from becoming sort of what I originally intended it to be was very permaculture focused, but with the, of course, through the lens of creating a kin's domain and a settlement, and how we create a space of love and the importance of a space of love. And what's the difference in doing that than just going and tilling up a garden or whatever, building a homestead? Yeah. But seeing as the many people as there are today, I'd love to do popcorn style. If anyone would like to just like introduce, say, hey, if this is your first time on the call, if you've read the books, if you haven't read the books, because we've got a lot of influx of people coming, from different communities now as we're reaching out, and some people have read the books, haven't read the books. So I think if it feels good, it's really cool to just do like a little popcorn here, and anybody that wants to speak up will have the floor for let's say like couple minutes to share, and yeah. So begin if anyone feels like doing that. Yeah, it looks like Laura Lee has her hand up. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, I'm in just south of Calgary, Alberta in Canada. And I read the books like 15 years ago, at least 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. My work involves studying social evolution. This is something I'm really committed to. And I would be highly motivated to start a settlement in these parts. And I have a fair amount of money to invest in that. I'm serious about this stuff.
Wow. We have a huge Canadian, I don't want to say following, community base in Canada. Huge. Are you on the Telegram chat?
You see, that's the problem. My phone is too old to get Telegram. I've had a number of people try to do Telegram. And also I would say that for seniors, Telegram is not a really user-friendly platform. It just is a deterrent to seniors. And I know that there's a lot of seniors that want to get involved in this. So I would really like to see an alternative to Telegram. I know that there's a new phone that you can get now that won't track you. So I'm trying to get information about how to get a hold of that new phone, but I don't want to buy an Apple just so that I can get on Telegram.
Yeah, we do have a community platform, which I'll throw the link in there. It's our own community network. I guess the only thing with that is that the same problems that you're having with the user friendly thing might happen there as well.
Oh, it's your mom.
So yeah, because we've had
You
some
answer it.
people,
I'm on the call.
we've had some folks, I'm gonna mute that. We've had some folks say that it's user friendly and not very user friendly. Oh, you know, you're referring to yourself as a senior. I will put the link in the chat there for anyone who wants to join that. So that's our own private network. Nobody tracks that. The servers are all owned by us. It's very cool. We need to be getting more active and more people on there. We've all been just very, very busy, but Laura Lee, that's how you pronounce your name, yeah?
Yeah, it is. I'm about to change my name, but we'll go by Lori right now.
Okay. Yeah, I think that that's probably the best way, but I mean, these calls were designed to like really facilitate more of this in-person communication, and then as we all the people who are hosting these calls got very busy and involved in grassroots projects in their areas, you know, that the people hosting the call, the frequency of the calls went down.
Yeah.
And originally, this is what it was intended for, is like, oh, hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm here. We're doing this. And then for people to be like, can I have your email? Can I have your, you know, there was a lot of that going on. So I definitely want to encourage everyone, you know, at your own comfortability to reach out to people on the call that you feel connected to. And then also find our other channels of communication, whether it's Telegram, whether it's the email list and things like that.
Okay, so I will put my email in the chat, and anybody who wants to email me, I have a lot of information about modalities that could be put into place on Kin's domain, like water treatment and water vapor harvesting and alternative sources of energy and things like that. So anyway, I'll put my email in the chat and people can get in touch with me if they want. Thanks.
Yeah, that's really sweet. That's really beautiful. Thank you for that offer and that invitation. Looks like Anne has her hand up. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, wow. I didn't know if you could. I'm one like what she just said. Kind of technically not, I'm doing really well, but I have ways to go. But anyway, this is the first time I've come, and it's through the AMG Anastasia meeting coming up.
Oh yeah.
That's how I heard about you guys. And so I listened to everything that were the videos once I went to your website and whatever. So I paid quite a bit of attention, and I've had my own place in Southeast Washington State. And we took a house with about, I think it's 3/5 of an acre, and turned it into organic orchards, organic vines, like grapevines, etc. Kiwi, organic. We planted about 24 different trees, all spaced enough so that they could all get sun and air and still call it an orchard where they're gathered together. So this all is very interesting to me, and what you're offering is particularly interesting. So an interest point for me. So thank you, and God bless you all.
Yeah, I hope you find some merit and information here that's useful, and some kind hearts and good thoughts and bright feelings. Thank you for joining us, and looking forward to being a part of the community, watching that AMG and Anastasia event. It's going to be a really historical event. If anybody here hasn't heard about that, I'll throw the link in there. But it looks like Debbie Saraswati, am I pronouncing the last name correctly?
Yeah, Sarasvati. It's kind of a combination of W and V.
Okay.
Hindu
cool.
goddess, right?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, hi, I'm from Mississippi, and just this last month I read all 9 books. Like I couldn't do anything else.
Whoa.
And I have no land or money, but I'm affiliated with a group of people in a small community also in Mississippi who are building a healing center along the Anastasia lines. And so they will definitely be on the, along with these principles, basically. So I may be moving there, in other words. They need a custodian.
Whoa, I'm interested to hear more if you can share a little bit more about this healing center that is
Well,
inspired by.
you may meet them not this weekend, but the event in 2 weeks. Cindy and Brian Culpepper. They both had family land in a small country town, that land, and they have been collecting all sorts of vibrational healing modalities. And then they just bought a farm adjoining, and they're just kind of building, a community, turning the chapel into a community center. And I'm going to be there teaching, getting a yoga center set up, and because that's what I do. Anyway, we're just beginning to grow and kind of pull in people who want like-minded community.
Wow,
So
that's
I'm
really
excited to
that's
talk to
beautiful.
y'all.
That's beautiful. Yeah, 9 books in the last month. Wow.
Uh-huh.
Did you read the 10th one?
I didn't know there was a 10th one.
Oh, hold on a second. Let me throw the link in there for the 10th one. Wow.
Okay, I'm going to get them all because I'm an underliner, and I was borrowing them from a friend, and so I could not underline.
So the file that I'm throwing in here for everybody as well, and I would appreciate if you don't, well, I guess you can share it with your friends, but maybe don't like publish it anywhere. But this is has the PDFs of all the books. So this file that I just put in, this is the ice drive file that has all the books. So one of the last books in there you'll find is book 10. It's a book X, and the title of the book is Anastasia. And Anastasia is like, whew, I get shivers thinking about that book. That book is, it's so dense. It's like, I don't know, for those who read book 4 and how dense book 4 is, like the kind of how much the material hits you. Book 10 is definitely like that.
Oh, goody.
Yeah, definitely check that one out.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, good to have you here. And yeah, I'm sure everything's going to come to fruition in divine timing with all of your aspirations down there.
It's kind of all my life I was wanting to leave Mississippi. Now I'm so grateful.
Yeah, it's the same way with me in my hometown. And it's like there's an Indian proverb that kind of says, like, God puts you where you're supposed to be at. And then you have to take care of the land where you're at, or else who's going to? And it's, yeah, I really feel that. So that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks, Wyatt.
Yeah. Does anybody else feel called to share a little bit about themselves? If not,
Wyatt,
yeah.
can I ask you a question? Are you actually in Missouri?
I am. I'm actually in Missouri, living in the
That's where
flesh.
I am.
No way, Anne, hello. We're neighbors.
Where are you?
I'm in New Medley, Missouri, so south of, okay, so like 50 miles west of St. Louis.
Okay. Yeah, you're on the other side of the state. I'm
Where are you?
I'm Kansas City.
Okay.
Kansas City Star is what I are.
Okay. We have my final place here in Missouri will be in the Ozarks. That's definitely where my heart is at.
Yes.
So beautiful down there, gosh.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you that. And I don't know how to lower my hand on this thing.
Oh,
Is it still on?
I just did for you.
Oh, okay. Also, I wonder where the dear sister in Mississippi was, because I lived for a while in Mississippi.
I live in Flowood, which is right on the outskirts of Jackson, but
Oh.
Collinsville is where I'm maybe moving to, which is where the center is, which Collinsville is just north of Meridian.
Yeah, I was near Meridian.
Mhm. Yeah.
God bless y'all.
That's awesome. Wow, beautiful. Looks like Kimberly and Marie have their hand up.
Just one hand, 2 people.
Just one hand, 2 people.
So we've been a part of this for a few months, I guess. Our plan, Wyatt, was of course to drive up to the event, the Dashnik Day at your place, but we got delayed and had to miss that date. So we shortened our little adventure camping trip, and we're right now in Dolores, Colorado, somewhere I didn't know existed, just outside of Cortez, right on the Arizona, just north of the Arizona border, north of the Four Corners. And we've been here for 3 days and love it so much I started looking for real estate. Today found a piece of property with 10 acres, little old house on it, and an extra building, and it can be subdivided, and it doesn't have an orchard yet. A lot of the area around here have orchards. Just beautiful, beautiful area here. So I want to find out about the land patent stuff, especially. So I guess I'll be on that call. But can you do land patenting if you're not a state national yet? Is that just a, it's just
Yes.
a process?
Yes. The
Okay.
process of getting a land patent is, I can simplify it in a couple of sentences,
Oh,
where
good.
basically what you're doing is you're tracking down the existing title of the land, and you're tracking it all the way back to the original title, which was granted in like 18 something something. I don't know the full logistics of it because I'm not an expert, but basically that there was these original titles given out, and the existing titles are mere kind of facades, I guess, in a way. And so when you go and you claim that original title, there's a process of going through that. You have to, you know, go to these special offices or whatever digitally. I'm not 100% certain, but basically you're tracking down the original title, the original owner of the land, and then kind of claiming that title. But you don't have to be a state national. No, you do not. You don't.
Okay. All right. All right.
May I,
Well,
may I offer a little bit more insight on it?
Please,
You're-
Anne. Yes.
Okay, it's, you're going back to 1826, and the, your land patent will, whichever state, where you're going back to was signed by the president. That's why the president of the United States, and that's why they won't, they can't challenge it successfully if you know how to, if you have to defend it, because that would undo what what their own president did in 1826 or whenever your land patent shows up. So yeah, it's a matter of going down to your recording department and tracking it step by step back, like Wyatt said. And then you just publish notice of it, that's what you're doing for 30 days. I did mine, publish it in the newspaper. It's a little more expensive that way, but it's more reproducible when you want to get a certified copy of it from the publisher. And instead of just photos of you posting it at the courthouse, etc.
So you've successfully, you're the land that you're on, you have the land patent for it.
For this one, I'm still working on it because with this COVID thing, they shut down the recording department in Kansas City in Jackson County, and I don't have a car. I'm here to recover this place and restore it. I was raised in this home. It's been in the family 71 years in the heart of Kansas City. I don't like really being in the city, but you know, I know that good things are going to come out of it. So I have not having a car, and the only place open is Independence. That's an hour and a half bus trip, and that's without counting waiting time. So
Yeah.
I'm working on it here. But in Washington State and most other states, it's pretty easy.
so that's something you would do before you, I mean, in the process of purchasing the land. You're not doing this after the fact. When do you?
No,
It's-
you have to own it.
Yeah.
You
You
own
have-
it first.
You have to own the corporate property.
Oh,
And
okay.
then you have to basically do, you know, take your land. And then the other way, just for people who are interested in researching it, and I know that there's some folks in Canada here, and I don't know the laws that apply in Canada, but private trusts are really an interesting route to go as well. That's the route that my settlement family here, we've decided to go on to set ourselves up to acquire the land. So that's another way to kind of create that autonomy in a really sacred way.
Would you be talking about that also on your 13th and 14th?
That's not me. I'm just a spectator in that event. But
Will that event address that also?
I think they're gonna address sacred stewardship. They're gonna address land patents. They're gonna address kind of living in this way that's not not slave mentality, basically. From a law perspective, I don't know that they're going to address that, but I'm happy to speak about that. I'm happy to speak about, on what we've done. We just finished enacting it. It took us about 5 months. We just finished enacting that, so it was a pretty in-depth process, but writing something that's going to last for eternity, quite literally, is what the document says. But yeah, I think it's a worthwhile step, and it's, not to get off on a quick little tangent, but the law world can really be draining for those of us that have a really creative mind. And I think just, recognizing that the good blend of both there, not to get too lost in it. It's just a vehicle. It's a vehicle to kind of embody freedom. And to do that now, it's not something that's I don't think the answer by any means. I guess I say that from personal experience, from like sleepless nights and long things like that, and being like, wow, this is not what God would want me to be doing right now. This is not what I should be doing. Like, I need to honor myself first. Hold on here. Check my priorities.
Good job.
Um,
Right.
I'll say Ron makes the process really simple. And if you get his book, everything's right there. And this time here, because I was also fighting a very, very fraudulent foreclosure as well as on my home in Washington. And this time I'm doing the land patent back to the trust because I moved it from my name to the trust, to a private contract trust. And so that's going to be interesting. Ordinarily, Ron doesn't recommend that, but that's what I'm going to do. It can still be done because the trust owns it. And me as a trustee, I'm still the owner.
And
Right
what's the name of his book? What's Ron's last name? Do you know?
Gibson.
Ron Gibson?
Yeah. I want to honor, thank you, Marie and Kimberly. I want to honor the other folks here that have their hands up.
I just also want to say hi. I'm Marie. I'm good friends with Kimberly, and I also help host goddess events, and it's called the Goddess Gathering on the website that the Anastasia Foundation website. And so with the next event we're going to have is during the full moon, and we have full moon and new moon events. So any woman that's out there or identifies as woman, come and join us.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I've heard that they're really good. I'm not invited, but I've been looking for some people to help start something like that, on a male side. So if anyone's out there wanting to do that, let's do it. But enjoy the goddess gatherings, whoever comes. Yes, I want to honor some of the people who had their hands up here. So it was on my screen, it was Rosemary first and then Frederick. So Rosemary, feel free. And we're just doing we're still just meeting and greeting, and then I'll kind of, segue us into some things, but take the floor, Rosemary.
Hi there.
Hi.
My name is Rosemary Finn. I live on Kittery, Maine. I am a state national here in Kittery, and very interested in getting my home in my name and my, whatever you call it, the deed in my name. Anyway, I am on book 4. And I just have cried my way through the first 3 books. So I'm just starting book 4 and I am so excited about it. I have a 1/4 of an acre here and I've been doing hugel culture here, no-till gardening. And this is my 3rd year. And I am just, I've always loved gardening, but gardening now is like a whole different, it's just a whole different way of being with the plants. And I'm an herbalist and I've always had this connection to the plants. But the connection with the plants now is, it brings me to tears to be with my plants. And I just can't be in there enough. I am just so excited to be here. I keep saying how grateful I am to Anthony Fauci and whoever it is that created whatever happened here, because it has changed my life so much. And without all that happened, I would not be here today. I wouldn't have connected with the different groups that I have connected with that has led me to this. And I am just absolutely beside myself with excitement and looking forward to what's coming in the future of this planet, and just the love that it's just emanating everywhere I go. And it's so true that what you put out is what you get back. And it's like coming back tenfold. And I see it every day. And every day I am just so freaking grateful and just so full of love at this point in my life. I'm delighted to be here. I'm so glad I found this. Thank you.
Hey, Wyatt, you're muted.
Wow, I was like getting emotional too speaking. That's pretty funny. Rosemary, I was saying thank you so much for sharing. I was just rereading the chapter about the Dachniks, and as you were speaking, you were just reminding me about the simplicity of that and how the earth may be big, but she is incredibly sensitive and can feel the touch of even a single individual hand. And I know she feels the touch of your hand. So thank you for doing what you're doing to preserve this beautiful place. I appreciate that, because I think, yeah, there's so much that's not happening in that way. And to hear somebody with their voice just being like, I'm grateful, I'm delighted to be alive. You know, that's the spirit that we all want to live by, and we struggle daily sometimes with, or sometimes it comes with ease. And so to hear you speak really inspires not just me, but all the people who are going to be watching this later in time, not in real time. You know, we're meeting here with thousands of people. I hope everyone really like feels the effect of that, you know, that the energy here is really thousands of people over time that are going to watch these videos and get inspired. So thank you for sharing, Rosemary. Frederick, would you like to share?
Yeah, I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. I have 2.5 acres here where my wife and I live, and my son and his wife. And of course, we garden, and I guess it seems like it's getting where if you don't garden, you're probably not going to eat. They're certainly planning to starve us to death. And I'm into traditional European religion. So I don't know what else you would be interested in.
Oh, whatever else you felt like called to share. That's amazing that you're, yeah, I mean, whether out of necessity or whether out of inspiration, I think people are all getting called to garden, and I think that's really beautiful. I mean, the food's tastier, that's for sure. You know, tomatoes are tastier, grown from your home and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we happen to have a hectare. You know, we read my wife and I read all the books, I don't know, years ago, not 20 years ago, but maybe 5 or 10 or something like that.
Hmm. Well, beautiful. You read all of them. Wow. Yeah, you know my friend Gabriel, and a lot of people are moving to Tennessee. Is that where you said that's where you're at? Tennessee, correct?
Kentucky.
Kentucky. Okay. Okay.
Well, we're right above Nashville, but Kentucky is between us because we're
Oh,
on the north side and Nashville's on the south side on I-65.
okay. Okay. So you're not far. You're not far then.
Well, I guess not, depending on how you look at it.
Well,
I would like.
oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I would like to be in a community. We have our hectare here, and we've had, we've gardened the whole time we've been here, and we're gardening before we moved here. We've been here 20 years, and I don't know. My son hasn't been interested in moving, and I don't want to. Our family's real important to me, so. But I am really interested in Anastasia's dream, her vision for things.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's coming to fruition in so many different ways already. That's what's really exciting, over in Russia and in different countries, and the first drops here in the States and the Americas are definitely happening. There's a lot of us working behind the scenes to propel this vision, in really beautiful ways. Creating things, creating events, creating things to bring people together, creating things that make the process easier. It's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, when I first read the books, we went online and tried to find groups and information all, and we couldn't find much of anything. And then recently I looked again and found y'all on YouTube, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, I think there's going to be communities developing here soon, Frederick, and I think that they will be slow to start, and because the people forming them, we're still getting clear on what the vision is and the images. That's why they haven't materialized yet. So it's still happening though, and yeah, yeah, you'll be on a space of love like that, and it's beautiful. You already have your hectare that you're able to live on, and continue to learn and practice living in that way. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, to answer Debbie's question, I put a map here. So this is on the community site, however, but this isn't with communities, this is individuals. So it's kind of cool to see, and this definitely does not represent all of our community. I mean, we have many thousands. This map only contains about a couple hundred, but so you have to, I'm not sure if it says 702 members. I'm not sure if you have to log in to be able to see that or sign up, but that is that. Thank you all. It was really beautiful to hear from you, Frederick, Rosemary, to hear from you, Anne, to hear from you, Debbie, and to hear from Kimberly and Marie. And if anyone else feels called, then Laura Lee. If anyone else feels called to share, please open up. If not, I have a discussion point I think would be fun to talk about. And again, the point of these calls, like I generally just allow them to kind of spontaneously happen, because we're all coming at this with very similar hearts and very similar minds, and we don't get a chance to communicate in a space that's open and receptive like this often. So many times what I find is that really just creating the container in the space, natural conversation arises that is conducive for all of us to learn, and to connect. But I do sometimes try to bring up some good things. So yeah, I guess first I'd like to ask everybody, and you can do a thumbs up or a thumbs down, how many people have read the books, just so we kind of, I just would like to see that, because there's about 27 people on the call, and so I'd like to see that, because I don't want to like start spoiling things or something. There's a majority here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. Jeff's down. Up, 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 up. Yeah, that's a pretty good majority. That's very cool. So you guys all familiar? I'm gonna speak about something that's near and dear to Marie's heart, because Marie just did a podcast about it. Are you guys familiar with Dachnik Day? You're familiar with this holiday that's celebrated, right? Did anyone celebrate it in a special way that they'd like to share? Those are really beautiful things to do. Frederick, did you want to share? Somebody want to share? Or feel free, anyone who did it, just like people's screens move on mine when they want to talk, or when there's a noise.
It was really rainy that morning.
Really?
On Dachnik Day, yeah, it was like a thunderstorm.
And
One of our trees.
Are you in?
Yeah, in Illinois.
You're in Northern Illinois, right?
I'm south of Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting, because it was sunny all day in Missouri, and that's like not that much different latitudes. Interesting.
Yeah, one of our trees, a willow tree, lost one of its branches or something. Yeah.
Oh. Well, happy Dachnik Day. next year maybe it'll be sunny and there won't be willow trees breaking. But yeah. Elizabeth? Hi.
Hi, everybody. On the calls. Yeah, your question was about celebrating Dachnik Day. I didn't do anything super special, but I did make it a point to get together with other readers. And I ended up going just north of here to St. Petersburg, Florida, and celebrating with Zion, who is been in the community for a while. And through him, met another really amazing man named David Algren, who I guess is a really great permaculturist, and hosted the 2018 Northwest Permaculture Convergence back in Oregon when I lived there. Only I didn't know it at the time, and so I just got to meet some really amazing people, and I got to meet their kids and try some new fruit. And it was only like a couple of hours that we were able to spend together. But I think the main point was that there's the intention to meet new people, meet like-hearted people, and just celebrate, and just honor it with my heart, and honor it with the others, and just go to like a little food forest that's there, and make connections. Yeah, heart connections. That's what I did.
Wow, that's amazing. Hey, can you say the name of that guy again for me?
David Algren.
David Algren. Okay.
Yeah, and apparently he knows. I met him through Zion, and but apparently David knows people that I know from the events, the whole event scene over in the Pacific Northwest. So it's just funny how I guess we're all so connected by not very many people away, like the 7 degrees of connection, or is it 6 degrees of connection or something?
Is it, I'm curious about this because I'm trying to connect with people nowadays. Is it Holmgren, like HOLM?
No.
I was like, okay, I was for a second. I was
Yeah.
like, "Dude, that's a really big name. That's amazing. Wow."
Let's see if I can find his. I'll see if I can find his name and spell it for you. But yeah,
That's
I'll
really
post it in
beautiful.
the chat when I find it.
Thank you. That's really beautiful to share that you just had the intention to meet people and you met all these people.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Hopefully there'll be connections. Hopefully there'll just be connections that are had for a long time.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see what's gonna happen next year at Dachnik Day.
Oh, I'm so excited for it, actually.
Right. It's gonna be good. Yep, it's a secret now, guys, but it's gonna be good. Good. Cool. Thank you for sharing, Elizabeth. Did anybody else want to share if they spent the day in a special way? I mean, this is a pretty big holiday, you know? It's like, it's this day where everyone's intentionally going and communicating with their plants and with things around there. I mean, there was definitely some interesting feelings coming up for me. So I just, in the share and the spirit of feedback, hearing that feedback kind of can catalyze experiences for other people. But totally all good if there's nothing else to share. Yeah, well, cool, guys. Well, yeah, I want to kind of jump back here and let's really take a moment to honor the timeline that we're all on. When COVID hit, there was this shift for everyone, and it kind of catalyzed. I like what Rosemary said, that thank you, actually. That's the word she used. Thank you for this. And I definitely want to tag along that, because there are so many things in the world that continue. It's like, if it's not COVID, it's something else. And if it's not this, then it's something else. And, I'd really like to hear how people are keeping their thoughts bright with that. I'd really like to hear what people are doing to kind of communicate the vibrance. How are you keeping yourself well? How are you keeping yourself healthy? How are you keeping yourself uplifted and inspired? Without, and I think it's important to mention that none of this requires a person to be an ostrich with a head in the sand. You've got to know what's going on very well. You've got to know. But there's a limit to knowing and to then feeding into. continuing. So I'm excited to hear, especially Marie. Sounds like she's going to speak. Marie's an advocate for everyone's awesomeness, if you didn't know. So I'm excited to hear her speak.
Well, the first time I heard this thing, this pandemic, which is crazy to me that it's called that, but when I heard it was called the coronavirus, I thought, wait a minute, corona, doesn't that mean crown? And so I called this the time of corona. And I've been calling that from March of 2020. So this time of sovereignty, this time of, and not seeing it as just, I really have enjoyed hearing everyone speak about this. The power of this time is this power of creating who you want to be in this world. And so, the idea of bright thoughts, Anastasia's her whole way of being is this the way of being that I want to speak with and be with in every moment. It's certainly it's a journey to do that. But I love this idea of taking this on instead of this time of horror and sickness, is this time of what are we creating? What new world are we creating with every step that we take? Like Thich Nhat Hanh says, you kiss the earth with every step that you take. I know that 5 steps in, sometimes I stop thinking about that, but at least it's a continued journey. And I so appreciate, I appreciate finding, what I also wanted to do is find a group of people that were thinking the same way I did. And that's why I love that these books came. I tell my wonderful friend, by the time we get off the call, she's already bought the books. Everything felt that ease. And anytime that I can feel that ease, and looking at property with her today, feeling this, we were out on the back deck having lunch on this property, and just imagining what Dachnik Day was going to look like next year. And it just this full of emotion, and the fact that she can subdivide this place, and this feeling of thinking about what you want and put it in the now. And so that's been my journey with this, and it's still a journey. I can say I don't know it. I don't know everything. I don't know anything, and just enjoying the journey along the way. Wyatt, you're muted. You're muted.
Again, seriously, I start getting into these like, oh wow, she's doing this, and then you're like, you're muted, and I'm like, take my thought back down. Yeah, what's really amazing is the last lines you said. I don't know this, but I'm enjoying the journey. That's wow. There's a line in book 4, Rosemary. Hopefully, I'm not spoiling anything, but God says to man, I ask you, my son, to create. You have been given the power to create in other worlds. Only don't try to figure out how it all comes about. And it's like, wow, Wyatt, take a lesson, like learn from that. That's how I feel. Because my composition is to try to do that. And those words are really a beautiful reminder for us all. Like, we're just supposed to enjoy the mystery and feel into it, not analyze it. Life is meant to be lived, not analyzed. Again, book 6, she's talking about the Vedrus. She said the Vedrus did not analyze it, and then in all caps, the Vedrus created life. Like we are, it's beautiful, Sharon Marie. Thank you for catalyzing that.
Yeah, and in book 4, he also says, and I just ask you to be happy.
Yes.
That's the only thing that he asks of us. And I think that's what we need to focus on, even though it's so hard to get there sometimes, because we have all these lively chores. It's really important to remember that we're blessed.
Yeah.
We live in America, guys, like we're blessed. And we're also using up all the planet's energy because of all the things that we have. But it's like so many people want to be here in our shoes.
Joanna, you're the second person the second human that has said that today to me, which is really interesting. That hasn't come up for a long time of two people saying that in the same day. So I'm really gonna soak that in. Thank you. Like that we're living in America. We should be really grateful and honored actually that we have this space and freedom. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Joanna, you're doing so much in Florida. Like, you remind me a lot of like Megan Peterson and though like everyone who has children. It's such a thing to be raising them in this world. The spirit that you must have. I just want to like compliment you on kind of being that shining ray, not only for your children but in this community here. Because you always say things that are really meaningful at like the right time. I'm always like, gosh, Joanny, that was perfect. That was perfect. So thank you for.
Well, I'm trying to stay in that space myself. I have struggles and I have challenges and I keep trying to remind myself like, hey, what's really important here? Like, hey, where's your mind going? And remind my family of all this too.
Yeah, you're reminding me. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry I joined late. I had a work call.
Oh, time is relative. Mark, it's good to hear your voice.
Hi, everyone. I've read all 10 books and I'm in my second read. The third anniversary of my finding the books is coming up very soon. And it's my belief that, what Wyatt said, if it isn't COVID, it's monkeypox. And if it isn't monkeypox, it's people killing each other. And if it isn't that, it's, this melodrama with these celebrities. And, I keep up with these things and not in a very deep, time-consuming way, but so that I do know what is going on. But it's also my belief that those who have the power to control such things want to keep that cycle going. They want to bring, terrible things to everyone's consciousness as much as they possibly can and keep them there. And then produce new ones or take advantage of new ones to do that. And, to keep us off balance and to keep us weak and to keep us not free and to keep us in bondage and, and keep us enslaved and, all the rest of it. So there have always been terrible things happening in the world. But in many ways, life on planet Earth is better than it's ever been for more people than it's ever been. And this movement and what Anastasia has brought to us, it's ancient, eternal truth and wisdom that people lived, for eons and eons and eons and eons. And it's, it's brand new in some ways, for many of us. Because until I read the books, I didn't know how to ideally live on Earth. And as soon as I read the books, I knew how to ideally live on Earth. It's that simple for me. So I believe, we can, I live this way myself quite a lot, that all this negative stuff, it doesn't have to do us any damage. It doesn't have to make us miserable. We can let it, to a large degree, wash off of us, like water off a duck's back. We can have compassion and we can send love and support, but it doesn't define who we are in any way whatsoever. Because who we are is truly greater than all of that and higher than all of that and more than all of that and beyond all of that. And all of that does happen. And the world would be a better place if it didn't, that's for sure. But if it is negatively impacting our lives, it doesn't have to. I believe, it's my experience, that it doesn't have to. That we can just see it, acknowledge it, and let it go. And see it and acknowledge it and let it go. And send love and support and acknowledge them and let them go. And live true to ourselves in a way that that is not hurt or damaged by all of these things. So that's my 2 cents at the moment.
It's a pretty strong 2 cents, Mark.
Hello.
Where are we at?
Hey, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. One of the biggest things that, we don't have to let it, I really liked how you easily and swiftly with your words brought the power back to where the power should be at, which is here. Yeah, so I appreciate you doing that, because it's really easy to get caught up and to feel as though I like the word a plaything of the elements and of the whims of the world. And it's like we're absolutely not. We're co-creators. We're the ones bringing this experience about. And what I've been saying lately to a couple of my close friends here and some of my family is, it's like the responsibility cannot be slushed off upon anybody but ourselves. I am responsible as a co-creator for what's happening on the earth, completely responsible. And that's what you're saying, is reminding me to take that power and actually step into it, because it's a lot. It's a lot to step into that power of, you're like, ooh, wow, that's a lot of big people that are doing a lot of big, not so nice things, and being able to step into that space where you're not that as though you're not affected and you don't feel, but you're very sure in your principles and strength. So thank you for sharing all that, Mark. I want to honor Jeff. You had your hand up first, and then Anne.
Thank you. I'm in Vermont, and you had asked about like how these recent events have impacted us. And I remember when we turned over to the year 2020, and I was just contemplating the new year, and like, I wonder what this year is going to, like, what is the frequency of this year going to be? And I got this sudden chills, and I thought 2020 vision, clear vision. I think this is going to be the year of clear vision. I didn't really know, but I just had full chills, like clear vision. And so for me, this has been like bringing things that are in the shadows into clearer vision. And although it's been very challenging and very frightening, it's also, I think, very necessary, and has really shaken me to my core, but also has led to me, forced me to grab onto and my own truth and the truth of my creator, because every institution, every system, every authority, every expert, et cetera, has really shown its shadows in very blatant ways, which has led to me gaining a deeper belief in my own truth and my relationship with creator. And then I'd never, I've read a lot of books, but I'd never heard of Ringing Cedars before. And then just a few months ago, it was some podcast I listened to, and it really resonated with me, because along with this, I've had a longing for community without the commune part. Mm-hmm. And so like that, where everybody's equal and everybody does the same thing and everybody owns everything, like that never resonated with me. And just watching those things kind of degenerate and get weird, I was like, that's not, but yet I want community. And so I'm very new at like learning about this, but to me, it was like, wow, this is like a balance between sovereignty and community. And like having your own, like the kin's domain idea, like having something that is not yours in ownership, but like you're invested in and intimately, and other people have things that they know intimately, and there's cross community. It just really spoke to my heart. And so that's, I signed up to the newsletter and I'm here and checking it out. And there's a small group of us, about a half dozen here in Vermont, of like-minded souls who are trying to create something and find something land-based where we do something like this. So I'm just glad to be here. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jeff. You're highlighting a really important point, that there is so many people right now that are trying to do something similar. And that is, I think, something we should all focus on. The beauty of is that we're representing a small fraction, very small fraction of the amount of people in the United States alone, not to mention Canada, that are seeking to do something. And many people don't know. They're intuitively working. They're intuitively moving forward because they have a sense that something is around the corner, and that they should prepare, not out of fear, not because something bad is happening, but because something great is happening, and that they want to partake in that greatness. And they're intuitively moving. And that is so beautiful to see, the action of like, ooh, 10,000 years, that was a good nap. You know what I mean? Let's wake up finally. Wow, that was a good sleep, and we're all doing it. It's so fun. It is so fun and such a joy. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. And you have your hand up?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
We can.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. While I'm listening to everyone and what I have listened to, it occurs to me that while I am on a creator's errand here in the city, and Kansas City's not a small city, but I'm having these thoughts that while I'm listening to everyone, that why not do the same thing instead of off a broad piece of land? I have people around me here in this city, right next door to me, right across just a few yards, across the street and down, up and down the street, of how to find those who are thinking and desiring that the city be a better place to live. And with the land patent, maybe that's an opener where people aren't controlled by city ordinances, and you can only have a fence so high, and maybe you can't do this garden or plant that because it's going to block somebody else's view, or whatever it is, being controlled by all the forces that people usually want to move to the country and their own acreage to get away from, as well as to be just out there in nature and closer to reality, spirituality, which we learn that if we, like I have had both, that it's not a matter of where we are physically so much as that where we are physically, we are there spiritually. And so we have the opportunity to be an instrument of change, of comfort, of what is called idealism. Does that make it out of reach? I don't think so. So anyway, that's a thought, that bring it to the city. I'm here.
Yeah, that's a really good thought. And I like how you threw in the word idealism at the end, because, there's a lot of people speaking about, oh, well, this movement is an idealistic movement. This is idealistic, and these are what are they called? Ideologues, people that are full of ideologies. And it's like, no, that's not the case, actually. That's not the case. That's actually the furthest thing from the case. Um, Actually, what it is sensing and being able to just see with two eyes what life can be worth, what life can be created by. And, is it idealism to say, like, I'd like to live this way? I don't know. I don't know. And honestly, I don't care. I feel like let people call me an idealist. That's fine. I mean, do idealists make it happen? I don't know. Do we make it happen? Yes, we do. And I think it's like, again, I just, that's something that's been brought up many times to me, like that this movement and the people wanting this. And I just think, let them say what they want to say. But what is this, Laura Lee? You call yourself a pragmatic idealist? Okay, that's cool.
Well, an ideal anything is based on an idea.
Yeah.
That's the fundamental of it. So are those who almost use the word idealism as a slur, are they actually saying, or are they saying about themselves, I don't have any ideas?
Yeah, right. They actually might be giving us a compliment. Let's see the
Yeah.
goodness in them giving us a compliment. I like that.
Thank you. God bless you all.
Yeah. And also what you were saying about the cities is very interesting. There's so many organizations out here that are doing that. Personally, that's where my heart's at right now. My home is not where I'm living. This is temporary. But it's like Anastasia says herself, you can't go and live in the forest. You got to clean up the area. Clean up your mess, please. Clean up your filth, And she's not saying that as like, you people do what you need to do at all. It's just more like, honestly, like if we really contemplate what we've done to the people of the First Nations land, what we've done to all of the species here, all of the flora and the fauna. And I mean, we owe at least a fraction of our effort to be devoted into restoring that before we go and think about restoring our life. And I think in restoring our life by creating family domains, we do give ourselves, Vladimir says, like on the family domain, one is creating the situations for like all of the energy and inspiration that he or she needs to do anything that they desire to do. So I do think that that's a powerful place to be, but I think we should also be committed people to changing the mess. We can't be escapists anymore. Let's be on the front lines, cleaning up the trash and planting fruit trees and flowers for the butterflies to come and lay their larvae on.
And plant the seeds of love. You go into any city, most people don't know their next door neighbor.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I make it a purpose to know my next door neighbors and to take them little love gifts here and there and just remind them that they're near to me. They're not only physically near to me, but they're on my mind and they're in my prayers and they're in my best wishes for them, even when they do me wrong, which has just happened recently. But it hasn't changed my attitude towards them, which comes from the creator of, the creator himself, who made everything that we have. We'd have nothing. We wouldn't wake up once we go to sleep if it were not for that force. So I think the city is a really good place to also make a focus. Thank you again.
Thank you.
God bless you.
This is beautiful shares, guys. I wanted to bring up a quote, and I'm not going to spoil too much here for you, Rosemary. This is book 4. Let's see here. This is one of my favorite quotes in this book. Well, actually, this is not one of my favorite quotes in this book because this book is full of really amazing quotes. But the chapter is chapter 26, page 178 in the Green Books. And the chapter is called Everyone Today Can Build a Home. And right before then, Anastasia says, All the wisdom of the yes, all the wisdom of the universe is included forever in each soul, right from the moment it is created. It is just that wise men slyly intellectualize for their own interest and thereby lead people away from the most important thing. And Vladimir says, from the most important thing, but what is the most important thing? And then in the next chapter, the most important thing, Vladimir, is that even today, everyone can build a home. Everyone can feel God with their soul and live in paradise. One single moment is all that separates paradise from people living on the earth today. Each one possesses conscious awareness within. When dogmas do not interfere with this awareness, then look, Vladimir, what can come to pass. And after that, they go and really cool stuff happens after that. I won't spoil. But I just feel like that's such a beautiful quote. Yeah, it makes me feel so good. It's like that is everyone's. Wow, we can all build a home. We can all build a place, a gathering space for animals and plants and people and grandchildren and great grandchildren and ancestors and people in the past and people in the future. Yeah. Feel free if anyone wants to comment on that or bring up something. Open floor. Yeah, you're welcome, Anne. No problem. Yeah, I find that book 4 is really full of a lot of really, really amazing things. Specifically, it's just packed full of really good stuff.
May I speak again?
You can speak as much as your heart desires.
Well, I'm surrounded here by, this is an old neighborhood. This house was built in 1905, but it's a nice neighborhood. Nobody'd be ashamed to live here, or if they were inclined to be ashamed of where they lived. But it's young families that have bought these big old houses and fixing them up. And I'm imagining that with them, like I've made friends of the young people who have moved in. They've had babies and, give little gifts and stuff like that. And to take those beginning formations of friendship and relationship to what I'm learning you guys are about. This is the first time I've had any inclination of you, any knowledge of you at all. But to what could come out of a city of tight-knit neighbors, and just going from one neighborhood to another neighborhood to another neighborhood. And before you know it, when people learn how to think and how to do, you've changed the fabric of a whole community to be a loving, whole, caring community with that just being the purpose and letting it work from heart to heart. So I'd like to ask prayers for that and thoughts on that line for here in Kansas City where I am. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll send prayers your way. And to
Thank you so much.
every city needs to have that connection kind of take place. Yeah, to have those neighbors, yeah, it's like we're all people. We're all people looking, everybody wants love. Everybody's looking to feel what they felt back in the very beginning of time. That's another chapter in here. Oh, is this in book 4? Is this in book? Yes, book 4. To feel the deeds of all mankind. Yes. Vladimir, you, like everyone else, have changed with that mind of yours, the interrelationship of material things around you. You've been trying through material means to experience sensations which every man knows intuitively, sensations which everyone is seeking but cannot find. What kind of sensations, Anastasia? Sensations everyone is seeking. What are you getting at? At what people felt back then in their pristine origins, when they were still living in paradise. But think for yourself, Vladimir. Why did you do all the things that you did? What do you mean why? Just like everybody else, I've been making a living, blah, blah, blah. She goes on to say, in order to feel, you see. So like in all of our explanations of why we're all doing things, we're all looking to feel. We're all looking to feel what we felt. That love that we know is capable. You know, in order to know the opposite of something, you also have to know the opposite. It's like we know what we're capable. We know what life can be made of, what life can be full of. And that's a pretty amazing thing to ponder. I wanted to also offer Anne and anybody else here, just as a good transition, in the next couple months or so, we're going to be launching an ambassador program here. And that's with the Anastasia Foundation. And so basically what that's going to look like is that each region will have an ambassador. And that ambassador will be responsible for hosting specific calls for that region. So there's going to be there's Canada people. Elizabeth is an ambassador here in Florida. I'm one from Missouri. The opportunity is open as well for others to join. But basically that ambassador will be responsible for holding meetings and for hosting in-person meetups in that area. So the focus right now is really on this foundation, is really to educate and to connect people so that we begin to understand and outline the image more clearly of what we're desiring. And that's really what these meetings are all about. It's really connecting with each other's hearts and really hearing each other's vision and being open to being validated and being open to being invalidated, because all of these ideas here are important in helping us to refine what we're doing. So I just want to say I'm grateful for everybody who spoke and everybody who's not spoke, because we're all contributing here to this. So thank you. Yeah, I mean we're past the halfway mark here, but I remember Ariane and I were hosting these calls, and there would be calls that we would go. I think a couple of them went 4 hours plus. And that was the good, we call those the good old days. Those are the good old days. That was a heated and inspired time. It was like everybody was bundled up in winter and couldn't get enough of digital communication. And we've all started in our own ways begun meeting in person, and it's changing the game.
And you just tell me to be quiet if I'm talking too much, okay?
No, you're fine.
That, in the city, everybody lives close together, but everybody's isolated from each other, generally. And that has to do with the way we were all raised and educated to sort of be programmed to not think freely, not think for ourselves, to be afraid, to be fearful of other people. And so I see a vision of those kind of barriers being not broken down, where in other words you go beat upon those, but they more or less be melted away by demonstrations of friendship, of trust, of giving, and even receiving. I've had some really good exchanges with a couple homes of my young neighbors here, and I see the principle of love for no reason other than friendship and love. um, bear fruit and trust and friendship. So there are more people that are in a city than will ever be able to generally get out of the city. So while I'm here on my temporary journey for however long it has to be, the creators will be done. And God bless you again. Thank you.
Have you connected, and have you connected with any community gardens in the city? Because there's a movement. It's been going on for a while now, but when you live in a place that has very little nature, they create community gardens in parks, and it's a beautiful space to share and to become friends with people in the city.
Yes,
and to grow things.
There are some here, and actually I wanted to make this yard here a very small, like, and there used to be one a couple doors down, a couple houses down, but those people moved. And but yeah, I'd even thought of one here. There's a couple blocks away, there's a big one, but they're not as active as they were like when my mother was still alive in 2014, 15. But
yeah,
you know,
you can
my
maybe,
home could be that. That's one of the things I was thinking of sharing, you know, is like I take my produce across to someone else who maybe is growing something different, and maybe they want to share it with me or somebody else. And that's living is a very good way to build trust and become familiar with people. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I know when I used to live in a city-like place, when I still do, but I used to live in another place. I joined the community garden. I met so many beautiful friends and souls and just people that really cared about the environment and what was happening to our children who couldn't recognize fruits or root vegetables. And there is a movement of all these beautiful people that are trying to help raise awareness in communities and help the kids get back to nature. You know, they have even programs in high schools now, and in where I used to live, and in what are they called, primary schools, to help the kids, you know, especially from rougher neighborhoods. Those kids need a lot of guidance.
I appreciate all those thoughts.
Here in there's a lot of programs like that going on in downtown St. Louis, the main city in Missouri. Well, aside from Kansas City, the largest city. And yeah, like urbanization, food redistribution and access. You know, because like quite honestly, cities are a really big food desert. It's like you go into those rural areas and there's hardly access to anything within a 10-mile radius that's not a gas station with gas station food. Most of them don't even have grocery stores, and it's like, wow, how do you expect crime rates to go down, and how do you expect education to go up when all the people are eating are as like ice creams and, you know, gas station pizza and chips, right? It's like, how do you expect that to happen? You're creating the conditions for that not to go down. So that's huge. Yeah, I found this is just an example, the link I put in here, but there's many funding opportunities if you're looking to create a community garden in your area. And more than likely, there's other people, if there's not a community garden in your area, that want to start a community garden. And you know, to just being that connector is a really cool thing too, to be that initiative there, helping out. Yeah.
I'll look forward to those links.
Well, I sent one in the chat. It's just like, it's an example of like a public garden funding resources. And you know, this is just one. I mean, this was due March 7th though, so it's actually not even you know, going on right now. But with all that being said, cities are interested in that because it adds it says a lot about a city if they have a community garden. You know, the value of the city will actually increase, and it shows a little bit about the community. You know, it's kind of like one of those things where the common, you know, when you're commonly looking for a house, people will look at, well, what school district is it in? Blah, 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 blah. Well, I personally would tend to believe having, oh, well, there's a community garden. Like that's a benefit that adds to the value, the economic potential of a region for sure.
I've been able to encourage 2 families towards homeschool because I homeschooled. My children are now 51 and 58. So, but my son didn't start out that way, but when people trust, when people trust you, then and as we sort of make ourselves open to them, they become open to new ways of thinking even about their own situation, which is being, you know, a mind changer type of person, I guess you could say. But and that changes a whole family. It changes really generations. The things that we're talking about here, and so I really appreciate it again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot that we can be doing, and I feel like, if I may, and to sum up what you're saying is, it's like just be it. Just we need to be. You're inviting us all to be active in our regions, and I think that's something too that's been a big theme here, in the foundation and in my heart and in a lot of people's hearts is being active in your region. You know, it's really. I gotta be honest, the place that I'm at, that the people don't necessarily at all think like me, or maybe have a lifestyle like me, you know. Um, they may be into different things and whatever, but it's like if you have good intentions, your actions will go far. And like even the simplest little things, you know, like what Rosemary was saying in the beginning, about just being out in the garden, like planting a small garden, planting a flower bed. I mean, that's going to help your native bees or whatever, but just taking that active role. It feels so good when you're doing that. Bye, Marie and Kimberly. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your time in Colorado. That sounds really amazing where you're at. Thinking a lot of bright thoughts for you.
Thank you. In fact, that you've inspired us to go back to the property, and we're gonna go sit on it again.
That's awesome. So excited for you. Enjoy so much. It looks beautiful there.
All right. Love
Thank
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you guys. That's so beautiful.
Wyatt, what you said about, being active and all that, I am probably the opposite extreme of an activist. I'm not the sociological person, activist or anything like that. I don't usually it's just probably just not been available to me, or I haven't sought it out to do things in numbers. Not that wouldn't sometimes be kind of nice to know that somebody else was involved with me. It's just not been how it's been. So that would be interesting to see how others involved with me, how could they be involved with me in my neighborhood, maybe electronically, I don't know, getting them to some place like this after a while, to a call like this, I don't know. Any ideas would be helpful.
Yeah. Does anybody have any ideas on that? I feel like there's a lot of people with a lot of experience, and do that a lot more probably than I would have to share. I have some ideas, but I'm inviting anyone here who'd like to share to share.
Well, that's like that's a big thing. I received a revelation about 4 years ago for the Great Neighbor Project, and it has a whole lot of little projects within it. But the first thing is to start by just going out in your neighborhood and looking at it. There's a poem that I have. I can't remember the author of it right now, but it's just going out and realizing this is yours. And it's about this young girl in Africa going to school, and just every place she walks by, she goes, "This is mine. This is mine." And so the Great Neighbor Project starts with people going out into their neighborhood and just recognizing that they belong there, and seeing it with fresh eyes for the first time. But there's a lot of other little projects involved, all of them just to there's a project called the Great Garbage Project, where you put signs on your garbage cans that say, "I care," and "Thank you for being so kind." And every time you put something into the garbage can or the recycling or the compost bin, you just say to yourself, "I care." And it's a practice of self-validation. Because what I really feel is the biggest statistic that matters. We've heard a lot of statistics in the last couple of years, but 80% of us feel that we're not good enough. And from that place, it's such a place of disempowerment. So to have a daily practice, every time you put something in a bin, to say, "I care," it's a practice of self-validation, and it helps to, build that muscle of recognizing that you have value. So anyway, that's there's a lot of pieces to that, but I hope to start teaching that in the fall.
Creating a new channel in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. That was beautiful. It's called the Neighborhood Project.
The Great Neighbor Project.
The Great Neighbor Project.
The Great Neighbor Project, yeah. And I put my email in the chat if anyone would like me to send a doc. It's actually a part of it's an application of a social movement called Cultivating Genius. And genius being defined as the ability to see things differently. So that's an intellectual project of mine that I've been working on for 20 years. And then I don't know, a number of years ago, I got this download for the Great Neighbor Project, which is an application of this new form of social organization that's emerging.
That's so cool. Thank you.
Yeah, that sounds really amazing. I've never heard of I haven't thought about it that deeply. And the way that you thought about it is actually, I feel like, really key to do that, because it's sometimes the challenge seems insurmountable. It seems like, wow, how can I change the world? It's so big. How are my actions doing that? And sometimes that alone can detract people and push people away from doing the little thing that they could do that could make such a huge impact. So I saved your email, Laura Lee. I'm definitely going to reach out because I'd really love to learn more. And I have some ideas about maybe first, before I have ideas, I'd love to hear more about the project. But Rosemary, thank you for joining. You really touched me with how you spoke in the beginning. Really sincerely did. So thank you for doing everything you're doing. You're making the world a very beautiful place. You're a very kind soul. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It was great. How often do you do this?
Every other week. So we used to have more calls. Gabriel does do a community call. He's just there's a lot going on right now in my dear brother's life. So those calls are kind of postponed and on hold for now. But this call is every other week. There is a European call that is this Sunday as well, and that's every other week. I might start hosting more. We'll see if I can find a really good day. Sunday's a really good day. So we'll see. We might start hosting more. I'm going to talk to Gabriel about that. So yeah, because this has been really awesome, and I really miss connecting with people. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Wow.
I look forward to hearing more about your gardens sometime.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
Wyatt,
Yeah.
Good night,
Is
everybody.
Oh.
is there a way to get what is in the chat to us? Because I'm on a phone and I don't know how to,
Do you just want Laura Lee's email?
just whatever is in the chat, how can we get that?
Okay, I can.
Because there's also other things in there.
Yeah. I will save the chat. This is all going to be up on YouTube, the video, but I will trying to think how I could do that. I can save the chat and send it to you via email. Do you have a good email?
Yes, you all should. Didn't you get it? But I'll give it to you.
I don't know that I have it. Maybe you could say it and then I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, I can type it into the chat.
Yeah, why don't you do that then? If that's
Okay,
cool.
I'll do that.
Okay, thank you. Cool. Wow. You guys are all such brilliant souls. It's so nice talking to people like-hearted. My brother Stefan has been saying that like-hearted is more appropriate than like-minded. He's like, I don't want to surround myself with like-minded people. I want to surround myself with like-hearted people. You know, because that diversity in the mind is actually good to learn. Okay, sweet. I got that email. Thank you. Yeah, so beautiful. Is there anything burning on anyone's heart? Anyone would like to share?
Actually, I do have a question. I've had a question ever since I started with this group. I'm just wondering if the people who are doing the KINS domain are working with earthships for homes.
Depends on who you ask and whose domain. Yeah, for me, I don't have my future settlement land. I have the legal structures that are allowing me to be able, and my family, my settlement family, to get that land. But with all that being said, I think the home structure is really up to the individual. And I do think that ecological materials and ecological building is something that is of the utmost importance. But as far as having like a consistent theme or not, I don't know if that's, I can recommend, hold on here, let me type his name in and pull up his website. Alosha, yep, yes, this is Alosha, here we go. I don't know if anybody knows about Alosha, but Alosha has read the books and he creates these, oh, what does he call them? Does anybody know what he calls them? They're like these special homes that he does. And they're it's like a combination of an earth ship and some other style home. And yeah, it's a very interesting home. It's like all organically shaped. And this is his web page. Oh, I don't know why it says donate, but it might take you to some link inside the site, but there is the main page. And some of it's in Russian. You might have to like auto translate to the areas that are easier to, or that are in English. Yeah, but he talks about this. He's read the books, a couple of his YouTube videos, he speaks about it, and he is really looking into building these types of homes. Yeah.
Okay, that was just one of the things because I know that she's got quite a bit of direction in terms of the land use, but I wasn't sure where the direction was going in terms of the home structures.
The emphasis, Laura Lee, is not on the home structure here. The thing that is most beautiful about these places is the landscaping. That is the emphasis, is the forests that are planted, because each plot of land gets roughly 2/3 or 50% is left to be planted as forest. And then there's, and that can be considered food forest. So yeah, with all that being said, it's like, yeah, I don't know that the emphasis for a lot of people is on the house. I mean, for me, it's like, well, I'm interested in living in a house that will support me, my wife, and my children, but I'm not interested in anything further, because my grandchildren will build a different home that'll be a lot better.
Right.
You know?
You know what? Something's just coming through here now. It's just something, I don't know how many people know of the organization Focused Life Force Energy. It's FLFE, I think, .org. But they are an organization that essentially you can subscribe, and your property is enveloped in a prayer, essentially is what it is. But they've done all kinds of research on the properties that have focused life force energy. And they just released data on a farm in Saskatchewan that did alternate sections of the farm, some with FLFE and some without. And they had a 22% increase in harvest in the parts of the property that were under the FLFE. It also harmonizes EMF frequencies and increases nutrient density. It's just an incredible, and they've got, I mean, they really have serious research behind this. So anyway, I that just came in right now, and I thought I really want to share that because I was blown away by the fact, and they've got all these pictures. They've also done growing.
What is the name again? Can you repeat
It's
that?
Focused Life Force Energy. And it's either flfe.org or .com.
I got the link. Check the chat, everybody. And the link goes straight to the evidence page, but the main site is there. That's an incredible website. Wow. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. And I've got FLFE on my property and have had for a long time. And I've got corn back in my backyard that's over 7 feet tall, and squash that are like just massive. So, I mean, it's one of the most common things that people who get a subscription notice is the increase in plant growth.
Wow. That's incredible. Yeah. Well, that's what plants want, is the human love and attention. So is the principle that there is a group of people who are sending out the focused life force energy?
They have some kind of technology, and at one time I was able to wrap my head around it, but I've lost the ability to sort of explain it. But it does work with David Hawkins' scale of consciousness. And so they send an intention to have your property enveloped at a level of 560 on David Hawkins' scale of consciousness, which is a really high frequency. And also on the webinars, which they offer every couple of weeks, at the time that you're doing the webinar, it's at 700 on David Hawkins' scale of consciousness. So this is a real healing and transfiguration kind of level of consciousness. And they're really sweet guys. I mean, the two guys that started didn't even intend to do this for the public. They just developed this technology to try to heal places like concentration camps and, places like that. But so many people wanted a subscription that they started a subscription thing. And Lee Harris has done a really good interview with them. Regina Meredith.
Have you personally felt any different in your being or in your household?
Yeah, I would say that I'm aware of the plant growth, and also EMF. It actually harmonizes the EMF. It doesn't just neutralize it. It's actually like, some people have noticed that their pets are lying on their phones and things like that. So it actually really does good EMF mitigation. So yeah, I've noticed certain things. Yep, for sure. I don't know about, like, I think it structures water, there's nutrient density, like but they've got a really good research page. And one of the things that blows me away is they did a research with the Institute of Noetic Sciences, where they put a random number generator in one of those rooms that's all blocked off from picking up energy. And the random number generator was influenced by the FLFE. So that's really amazing. I mean, to be able to influence technology that's just, doesn't have any consciousness, and you can still influence how the technology works. It's amazing. Their research is really solid.
I'll have to check that out.
That's so interesting, because I live in a property where I haven't actually ever felt at home in this house since we moved. And we're trying to figure out why. I've done cleanses, I've done things, and we just decided to move. So we're just like, no, it's not for us. But I don't know if this technology thing might help the space,
Well, the other thing I might recommend is the flower essence of sweet pea. So the flower essence sweet pea is a flower that's always trying to find a home. It's got the little tendrils that are trying to find some place to latch onto. So somebody who has difficulty having a sense of home, if they take the flower essence of sweet pea, it can help them feel more at home.
Oh, thank you. I'll try that.
Okay.
Wow. Laura Lee, if you don't mind me asking, where is your main interest now? Is it the Great Neighborhood Project?
Well, yes, probably, but so I'm planning on giving a series of talks called Really Good News, and it's two things like this. I've spent the last 20 years watching the patterns of a new form of social organization, and that intellectual practice I'm calling the cultivating genius movement, the ability to see things differently. But within that, the Great Neighbor Project is an application of all of the things that I've noticed in terms of how sociological patterns are changing. So what I have seen, one of the things, for example, that I've seen is that people have a really hard time wrapping their minds around the fact that government isn't controlling things and isn't the primary form of social organization. The primary form of social organization is activism. And there's a number of different kinds of activism that I've identified, including subtle activism, which is working in the field of intention. So anyway, there's kind of like this really big picture of what's going on. And then it's like bringing people into something that they can do on a daily basis to amplify these, what is wanting to emerge. I didn't invent anything. Some people are inventing new forms of social organization like meta-Gaiases and the Freedom Cell movement and things like that. I didn't invent this. All I did is I watched the patterns, and I've got this 14-page document identifying over 200 movements that reflect these new patterns. And then I've got a whole bunch of links to organizations within the movements that demonstrate these patterns. So there's a big picture, and then there's, okay, what do I do?
Is this your first time on these calls?
No, I was on one more time, but I had my hair down. I look completely different.
Yeah, because I remember you saying that. I remember and when you just said that I have a document identifying over 200 social movements, I'm like, somebody said that before. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Very cool. Yeah. Interesting. I got your email. I'm excited to reach out, and I'd love to learn more about that project.
Okay, great.
Yeah, somebody just put from energy biogeometry.
Yeah, hi. I've been here one other time. My name is Jolene.
Oh,
and
hi, Jolene.
hi, I just don't have my camera on. Anyway, I live in Arizona, up in the mountains in a small town called Payson. And I'm renting right now. I don't have my own property. And I just wanted to share about biogeometry because Dr. Karim, the information on that website is phenomenal. And Dr. Karim has been he's actually lives in Egypt. He's been doing a tremendous amount of research and study for many, many years. And there's certain angles that you can use and certain ways that you can, for your gardens, for instance, putting a 45-degree angle, I think it's on the north, you have to look at the paper information there, but will create abundance in your garden. He talks about shape and quality, not quantity, but the quality of energy. And he has a lot of tools that you can use for balancing your home. There are a lot of ley lines and disruptive energies that you can even see in nature when you're looking at trees or the ground or whatever, and trees will move out of those ley line energies that could be disruptive to them. They may grow ulcers on the trees. You may see more like ants in areas where they're drawn to the more imbalanced ley lined areas. Many people, the study he's done too, you can read a lot of research on there about some of his work that he's done, even all the EMF stuff, and shifting all of the electromagnetics just through specific shapes. Fascinating work that he's done. And I've been using a lot of his tools for years because I'm very sensitive to a lot of electromagnetics, EMFs, and have had to learn how to work with the energies around me. So beyond that information, which I highly recommend people really looking into that, because it can really serve you on your land. It can serve your own individual person. He even has what they call biosignatures, that if you have an imbalance going on in your body, just through drawing this signature energy and even putting that energy on your body will absolutely come back to balance. He did a study, was called in by the Egyptian government and said, we'd like you to prove something to us. We've got a blind study here going on with people with hepatitis C. And so a third of the group was given the pharmaceutical kind of drug. A third was given a placebo, and a third was given just a symbol that Dr. Krim came up with, just to wear on a necklace. And after a period of 6 months, I think, or 9 months, I forget how long a period of time it was, more people came out of that dis-ease in their body using the symbol that they wore versus the people like on drugs and the placebo people, of course. So fascinating stuff that this guy's done. So highly recommend that also, if you're looking into other ways to harmonize your space and your homes and yourself personally. And other than that, up here in Payson, I have 2 garden plots, 25 feet by 4 feet wide, in a community garden. And so I work that, and I also have a garden at my house. And I've been forever going, I would really like to be in a community. And yeah, I've got neighbors around, and I just sat with myself and I went, you keep trying to do this outside of yourself. You need to create this right here, because whatever's happening, your vision hasn't come forward yet. It's okay. Do what you want to do here. So I was talking with my backyard neighbor, and he goes, I see you've got your little greenhouse. Tell me about it. So I did. And he said, well, how do you get started? So I inspired him I said, you can start with just getting some potatoes and growing some potatoes in buckets if you want. He went down and bought buckets, started growing potatoes, and he went and ended up getting a little greenhouse set up for he and his wife. We've now planted an apple tree together. We're looking at putting in berry bushes around a fencing area that we've got. And so we've supported each other back and forth when one of us has had to be out of town to tend to things, or they went on helping family for a while, and I took care of their garden. So, and whenever I go anywhere, I choose to inspire people to find a way to grow something. And it's happening. Even there's 2 community garden spaces actually in this area. And so that's what's happening up in a little mountain town in Arizona. We're all in the big pine trees. So it's all forested land up here, and it's beautiful. So I just thought I'd share that. And I have read book 1 of Anastasia. I love the books. I'm not sure where I can get book 4, but that intrigues me. Anyway, so I just wanted to introduce myself.
Thank you so much for introducing yourself. I will share right now, again, the PDF that is to all of the books.
Oh,
So
cool.
there's all of the books on there. And you may have to find one. Shane was recommending Presto Print, I believe it was, and I will put that link in right now as well. That will allow you to basically take a PDF and print it into like a book form. So that's kind of the easiest way to do that right now at the moment, because the books are not very available, and if they are, they're very expensive.
Okay, cool. Thank
Yeah, and
you.
I also love these these movements that are happening everywhere of neighbors and gardening, and I feel like the Anastasia books show us the pathway, but I feel like everybody's picking up on the vibration of the awakening of the planet and the closeness that we have to have with our native spaces, and like how we can take care of the earth, because everything that we're doing, what you're doing, what everybody's doing in their yards, even if it's just a little plot of flowers, is really making the earth resist all the hardship that she's going through, and it's bringing up a new era of beauty and awake children, and you know, it's just everything is helping. So I really appreciate you saying that, you know, even though you haven't read all the books, you've read the first one, but you're still doing things with your neighbor. And I love that story. It's so inspiring to me. And I wish I had neighbors like that.
You know, it's interesting. I didn't really realize I had neighbors like that, but I had to step out of my own self. And actually, you know, I had a roommate and they moved, and I have a fairly good sized front yard and backyard, and energy wise, to keep up with everything and 3 gardens was just like, it's a little over the top sometimes.
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I was out, my front yard was full of pine needles and leaves, and I needed to get it cleaned up, but just to rake it was like, okay, this is going to be a big project. And I was going to hire a guy to come do it. And I was out asking my neighbor next door if I could borrow his leaf blower, you know? And he goes, why do you want? I said, I'm going to hire this guy, Bob, to do my front yard. He goes, you're not going to do that. You don't need to spend any money, Jolene. I'll come do it for you. So he came and cleaned up my whole front yard for me, which was huge. And then I go out, you know, you're just blowing me away. Thank you so much. And he goes, hey, and don't you go buy plastic bags and bag that up. I'm going to pull my trailer over here on Saturday and pile that in there and take it down to the dump for you. And he goes, I went, really? And, you know,
Keep those neighbors.
Feel like, yeah, I feel like when you stay in a grateful heart, you attract what, you know, things come to you, things happen. And that's how I feel like everybody has to step into that more and more. And and keep ourselves out of that monkey mind. That goes,
Yeah.
I can't do that. No, we can. We can create anything. So, yeah, it's blessings come all the time. You just have to be in a little step up into that higher vibration and be in your heart. And I think that's how it all happens. And you're right. The world is waking up and people are becoming more conscious. And it's
Yeah.
very, very cool.
Yeah, it is. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
Sure.
really inspiring. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Joanny said, I was like, the neighbor story touched me. Yeah, because it's like we really have there's more kind-hearted people than we realize, which is why I'm
Yeah.
excited about the Great Neighbor Project, and why I'm excited about all the things that you guys are all doing. Because it's like, wow, we're connecting to all these good people, and it's like when we are good, it reflects in the other people, and then they reflect goodness back to us, and we learn something. We're like, wow, look at them, and how what they, it's such this beautiful symbiosis you get to learn from your neighbors. I mean, I'm building a home right now, just a little temporary earth home on this site, and the neighbors are traditional country folk. I mean traditional, like very much so. And it's awesome, actually. Like I really have in me, I'm like, look at how good-hearted these people are. They want to be free, they want to be, and it's like when we look and we find the goodness, even if it's a needle in the haystack, you can
Yeah.
find it. So thank you for your inspiring stories. And again, like Joanna, you're hitting the nail on the head. It's like people may be reading the books and doing that, but everyone is feeling the shift and the change and the call.
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Joanny.
Thank
Bye.
you guys. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Take care.
You
Good
too.
night. Bye.
And I have to go too. My dog
It's
is driving me
actually,
crazy.
well, I was gonna say this is the time when I wrap up at 9 p.m. anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah. Laura Lee, I have your email. Go ahead, sorry.
I want to share one more quick thing.
Yeah.
There is an amazing group out there called Life Force. And most people don't, it's hard to wrap your head around this, but a woman came forward. You can Google Kimberly Gogan and Life Force. She started up I don't know if you call it an association called UnitedNetwork.news. And people are actually being field messengers, using their cell phone, talking about what's going on in their neighborhoods, sharing from their heart, creating news if there's a whatever kind of other news is happening. So this is going out to thousands of people all over the world. And she does a lot of their information is on Telegram. So I don't know if anybody has Telegram here, but as a social media, but that's the platform that they use. But she's actually, I don't even know how to say it, but I'll share the next time we have a meeting, more information, and I'll see if I can get some links for you so you can learn more about her. But she's really, really turning the tide around, and the factors that have been controlling the world are being taken off the world. She's working a lot with other you know, not just earth beings, but number groups of different people, that this is all about, we're in this shift, and it's about bringing in a world and building our new earth here. And so she's putting together a restoration program to do that, and moving forward. And she's basically taking control of most of the financial world. She hasn't gotten a complete control of it yet, but it'll be there. So things will turn around, and what you see out there coming down needs to come down, but it'll be replaced pretty quickly. And there's a lot going on with people stepped up for worldwide support of the health and wellness programs worldwide, so that people are going to be helped hugely, not just with the medical model that we've got now, but also with any alternative types of healing processes, supplementation, everything. You'll be given a card that you can utilize, and it won't cost you anything to do any of this stuff, because that's what they're doing, is backing it. They're calling it not insurance, but assurance, because everybody has the right to health and well-being on this planet. It's one of her restoration programs. So there's so much going on out there that that we're all uncovering as we go along, and it's just exciting to watch with this shift. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. I shared the link to that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just reading BitUN. That's cool. I didn't see that message. I wish I could have replied. Yeah. This is really beautiful, guys. Thank you so much. I have so much gratitude that the amount of people showed up today, and for all those stories we heard, for all the inspiration. It really is always so grounding. There's definitely a high after these calls. And yeah, again, I'm opening the floor up if anyone wants to say anything too here at the end and put any, gratitude or intention in. But I'm really just grateful. And yeah, these calls are every other week. You can find out a lot about what things are going on by going to the anastasia.foundation. We also have a Telegram channel, but all of the links are on that anastasia.foundation. This will be up on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube as well, Ring Cedars USA North America. We have a Facebook group as well. And yeah, we're all doing such amazing things, like Joannie was saying, like Rosemary, Laura Lee, like all these folks were saying. We're all doing such amazing things. So thank you all for being who you are in these times, for being alive, for being a soul. It's huge work. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. Well, if nobody has anything else to say, we will leave it at that.
Am I still live?
You are. We're about, yes. Yes, you are.
Yeah, I was trying to get back to you, and I'll put in okay, let's see. There. I'll put this in.
Oh, Mariko, the pigeon.
I didn't.
Oh,
I don't want to keep everybody, so
well,
I'll
no,
do it the next time.
Mariko just
No,
brought
no,
the pigeon.
Oh. Do
you what?
Pigeon
Yes, she's my
guys?
family.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
At the beginning of this meeting, she was sitting on my knee, so I was trying to put the camera on, but well, the angle I think was not very good. So I called her from where she was waiting for me. She really loves to hang around with me and always wait until I finish what I do very calmly. So now, well, hey, come on. And she has a little disease and not possible to fly in a big distance. For a few centimeters, if possible, she recovered as much as possible to do that. But she cannot fly 1 meter in height or distance. So she's now living like a kiwi in my home with me.
Oh wow. Mariko brought the pigeon, her pigeon on a couple of calls ago, and I remember, and it was really beautiful. So it's good to see the pigeons. So it has a little disease, but it's doing okay.
Still okay. She has almost recovered, but the point is that the neuron system has something wrong still, but no problem in her life. But in the function for flying is a little problem, but it's fine. So you don't need to worry. And actually, there was one more in my room until this morning. There was one pigeon caught in a trap in neighbor's pound of golden fish. I rescued her, but her right leg has been gone because it was cut by the strong trap. And 3 days ago, it had surgeon. I took her to vet, and she survived and could fly very well. And this morning I made a mistake to give the medicine, and she flew away from the window. And she wants to come back because her leg is gone. So the daily life can be a little bit difficult. When she feels difficult to live outside, I think she will come back, but nobody knows. It's okay with that, but I just love them being happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes me happy to see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very cool.
Lovely to hear you.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Well, Wyatt, what I was wanting to post, I can't. So
Okay.
I'll let it go. So we'll leave it at that. Thank you.
No
I
problem.
love your heart.
Thank you.
I love your heart. You're
What was your name again?
Jolyn, spelled
Jolyn.
Jolin.
And you were on one call before.
Yeah, I was on one other call.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for being here and sharing all your stories and sharing the inspiration. I'm definitely buzzing. I feel really good. And yeah, I'm gonna sleep really well tonight. I always do after these calls.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your time and your love and energy.
Thank you.
It's great.
Shane, how's the settlement coming in Illinois? How's it going, brother?
There's not much progress. I mean, and I haven't really been. I get really busy with stuff,
Well, that's okay, but see, I like how you said there's just not much progress. So it's happening though, but there's just not much progress yet, right?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really been looking for land.
Right.
I guess I was meaning to ask you, but there's not much time on the call right now to talk about this, but
I'm gonna say, everyone, feel free at any time to drop out. This is the coffee hour after the meeting, so feel free to stay or not stay.
I just wanted to ask you if you knew anything about buying farmland. Like, do you know anything about that?
Yeah, good question. Farmers generally are getting massive loans for that. And Shane, this is something that's been on my mind because around me in Missouri, there's so much farmland, and it's my mission in this life. After I'm on my kin's domain, whatever time it comes, I have this mission that I want to take farmland and convert it. Basically just create a deal to farmers to where it's like, hey, this is you can sell the land, and these are the people that are going to be living on it, and this is the model. And yeah, I know, brother, there's so much land available, and it's so high priced, because it's like it's massive acres that are agriculturally productive. So yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think on that, man. I mean, yeah. A lot of these guys are doing like grant programs, you know, like farmers, like they're getting grants to farm the land and then loans and then they're paying back on their loans. Like, yeah, farms are going for a lot of money, but marginal farms, like land in marginal area, like that's what Russia has so much of is like this marginal area. That's why they're able to like give it away. And we've used that marginal area and turned it into cropland. And it's like, there's going to come a time when the cropland goes down. And at that time, we'll jump in.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know where to get started at buying farmland. I haven't really looked into it too much.
Is that the only type of land around you? Do you have any like woodland area?
It's pretty much all farmland. I mean, it's a lot of farms around here. We're surrounded by cornfields and soy fields. Yeah, I mean, I'd be open to looking elsewhere in Illinois, you know, besides where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the farm thing is like the only thing I've thought of is approaching the farmer directly and literally giving them like this scenario, you know, and a plan and saying, you know, and that's a ways off, you know. There's a lot of planning there and you got to have the people there, but convincing the farmer that they could excuse me, they could make money and then they could actually do something good for the environment by subdividing their land into settlement areas and then small plots within it.
But the farmers don't own the land, right? They're loaning it, they're renting it, right?
Some, and then some it's family land though, you know, it's like been in the generations for a while.
Because I was just thinking, like, if I knew where they buy the land, where they rent the land from or buy it from, well, you'd have to buy it because if you rented it, they're gonna want you to farm it. So you'd have to buy it to build like settlements on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, if I knew where to buy it from, then it's just a matter of getting the money for it. Yeah.
Well, I think the thing that we're doing here in Missouri is instead of focusing on buying the land first, we are focusing on creating the community and creating the legal structures to accept the land in a way that is in alignment with us. And that way, you know, we're going to set ourselves up so that we can create a website and create all these things so that investors and donors and things like that become, you know, like aware of like, hey, this isn't just like a couple of people wanting to start a commune. This is like people who are very clear about their intentions. So I think, yeah, I don't know, that's just the route that we're going, and there's so many ways to go about this. There's so many ways to go about it. That's just what we have felt is kind of develop everything that you can before you get the land. You know, the land is like the very critical part, but oh wow, but there's a lot of things besides the land that are important too.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because I was just thinking that, like, you know, there's people who have like $1 million homes, and I'm not sure how much this farmland costs. But it's just like, you know, one person with a $2 million house or something could, I imagine, could buy a pretty large area.
Yeah, exactly right. It's like, look at all the assets you have and look at what you're doing with them. Would you like to contribute to something that not only benefits the environment, not only will make you money, not only will give you a place to live in a community? It's like, yeah, it's really, we have to be able to see these people who have wealth and see them having good intentions of like, yeah, I'm going to use my money for something good. And they will. I believe they will. We just have to give them the opportunity to. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're probably pretty sleepy, so.
Sort of a little bit. You need to drink some water, that's why. Thank you, everyone. And this call will be up on YouTube. I appreciate everyone. And see you in a week and a half if you feel like joining. This was very fun. Thank you. Bye. Bye, Mariko, and bye, Pigeon. Oh, bye. Oh, the pigeon is it's a good way to end the call. Okay. Bye, everyone. Bye.